So Real Broker offers its agents some pretty amazing benefits and opportunities for being an agent here. However, there are some caveats, there are some rules and regulations around those benefits that really don't get talked about all that much. So today we're going to take a deep dive into the Real Broker Independent Contractor Agreement, which outlines all the rules and specifics of these benefits. I'm going to be pointing out some fine print around some of these benefits that you really need to be aware of before making a decision to join Real Broker. And real quick, if you like your own copy of the Real Broker Independent Contractor Agreement, why don't you shoot me an email at malcolm@livinginmaryland.com. Be more than happy to send you either the US or Canadian version of this ICA. So let's just jump right into it. So on page 2 of the ICA, under place of work, it says a company is a virtual brokerage and does not provide any office space or other forms of working space for the agent. So this is actually a common question I get from a lot of agents. Real does not provide any office space. So you either need to have a home office like what I have here, or you can go and rent an office space somewhere. Moving on to page 3, it says broker exclusivity. Agent agrees not to enter into another agreement to provide real services with another individual or entity while sponsored by the company in the states the company is currently licensed to do business. So this issue does pop up sometimes. If an agent is licensed in 2 different states, they'll often ask me, hey, can I be licensed with KW in one state and then Real in another state? And the answer is no, you can't if Real is offered in your state. So right now, Real is offered in 45 out of 50 states. Sharon, the president of Real Broker, says that's the top priority for him to get into all 50 states. So you can only be licensed with 2 different brokerages if you're in one of those 5 states that Real's not in. You can be licensed a different brokerage there and then with Real in another state. But generally, if you are licensed in multiple states, you have to be with Real in all those states if Real's offered. The next line says Board of Realtors. Agent is required to apply and become a paying dues member to a local association of realtor boards within 30 days of the effective date of this agreement. So this is actually really common to see this in a lot of ICAs where they expect you to be part of the National Association of Realtors, your state association of realtors, and of course your county association of realtors. And I'll be honest, like those are actually great resources for networking and training. And a lot of people will say like, at a virtual brokerage, you don't get to like meet people in person as often, kind of networking. Well, if you're a member of your NAR and your local board of association of realtors, right, you can go to in-person training and networking events with them and kind of scratch that itch. But this is a requirement that you are a part of NAR to be a part of Real. And further down on the page, it says agent activities. Agents agree to perform no other activities in association with the company except to solicit and obtain listings, sales, leases, rental properties for the parties' mutual benefits. So that sentence right there, agent agrees to perform no other activities in association with the company. So you can't be a property manager run by a Real Broker. You can't be a house flipper run by a Real Broker. So if you have those other businesses, you can't have that associated with Real Broker, right? They only want to be associated with real estate sales. And right now their primary focus is on residential sales. We do have some commercial, we do have agents that are doing commercial. You are allowed to do commercial. Commercial is not a big focus of Real right now. They're really focused on the residential side. So this is something to kind of keep in mind, that you can't be a house flipper by Real Broker or property management by Real Broker. They only want to be associated with real estate sales at this time. So on page 4, under commission, it says, in the event agent affiliated with the company represents both the purchaser and the seller of the same property address, each side will represent a separate transaction and will be subject to a company split and transaction fee per side. So if you are representing both sides, which they are perfectly fine with you doing that, I have a transaction right now, you do pay 2 different transaction fees for each of those sides. And both those sides do count towards, those transaction fees both count towards your elite agent status. Under rate of commission charged to clients, agent may use his/her discretion regarding the commission fees charged to clients for real estate broker services provided. Agent will obtain written permission from the state broker for any contemplated commission to clients which is decidedly lower than the regular and customary commission charged by a full service broker in the geographical area in which the agent does business. Agent understands that they need to charge a commission high enough to avoid being in a negative commission situation. Now, in previous versions of the ICA, what the language they had here was you can't consistently offer 1% commissions and can't advertise 1% commissions. It seems like they've really loosened up on that language a bit. Because I know, for example, in New Jersey, kind of the standard is like a 2% commission in that area. Like that geographical area, they just have lower commissions. In some areas, maybe 3-4% commissions, kind of the standard. So it kind of depends on your price range and what your local market is saying. So I like that they've kind of loosened up on that language. But generally, they don't want to be associated as a discount brokerage. And that's really what they're trying to avoid. They don't want people they don't want to be a 1% listing company, kind of being associated with that. But it looks like they're a little bit more flexible if kind of these lower commissions are kind of the standard in your area, especially if you're dealing with like really high price homes. Generally the higher the price, the commission kind of comes down a little bit. So they are a little bit more flexible with that now, and it's really going to be left up to kind of really your discretion, but ultimately your broker's discretion of what's acceptable in your local market. Below that, it says flat fee or discount brokerage. Agents are free to negotiate their commission. However, there shall be no advertising by an agent appearing to offer a consistent low flat fee or offering consistent discounts on their commissions. And so this is what I was just saying, that they don't want to be associated with that. So you can't be hey, $1,000 flat fee and I'll put your home up on the market, or I'll sell your home for just 1%. They don't want to be associated with these kind of discount brokerages. And I like that, right? They're doing a lot to really protect their brand and kind of protect that image that Real has. So I'm actually all in favor of them not allowing that. So under fees and payment schedules, it says that the sign-up fee is $249. I just want to point this out because it was $149. They actually changed that just this year. And that the brokerage fee is $750 brokerage fee each anniversary year. So every year you have an annual fee of $750. That used to be $500. That's one of the fee changes that they've made recently. And that actually gets taken out of your first 3 transactions of the year, $250, $250, and $250. Again, I like that model because you don't actually have to pay that until you have commission coming in, and then you pay that. On page 5, under personal transactions, it says an agent may take 3 personal transactions per anniversary year and will carry a $250 transaction fee. So that's just good to know. Below that, transaction fee after cap. The company will assess a transaction fee or $225 per transaction with a $6,000 cap. The transaction fee is per transaction and not per agent, and is split between agents on a transaction equal to the percentage of commission each agent earns. Right, so that sentence may be a little confusing. What that means is if you're a team leader and your agents beneath you are closing transactions and paying a transaction fee, if you're taking 25% of their commission, well then 25% of their transaction fee counts towards your $6,000 transaction fee cap in order for you to hit elite agent. If you're taking 50% of their commission, then 50% of their transaction fee is counting towards your elite agent cap of $6,000 in transaction fees. So it's actually really nice. So if you have a team and even just a few agents underneath of you, it's going to be much, much easier for you to hit elite agent and get that $24,000 in free stocks. Now, they also recently made it a lot easier for you to hit elite agent. They increased the price of the transaction fee, but they kept the $6,000 cap at the same number. So right now, you have to cap, and then I think it's closed 21 transactions, and then you hit elite agent. It used to be capping, and then I think it is hitting 25 transactions to hit elite agent. So they made it a lot easier for hit elite agent, and if you have a team, you have even just a few agents underneath of you kind of contributing to your team leader elite agent cap, then it's going to be even easier for you to hit elite agent and get that $24,000 in free stock. Beneath that, it says processing fee and BEOP fee. So this is one of the new fees that they've added just this year in 2023. Company will assess agents a $30 processing fee on all transactions. This fee is for broker review, error and omissions insurance, and processing of transaction. So this is one of the newer fees, and this is going to be on all fees. While you're paying your cap, after your transaction fee cap, etc., all across the board is going to be a $30 fee. Now you may be asking, like, why do they have all these fees? Why didn't they just increase the price of the transaction fee? Well, again, that kind of goes back to because in order to hit elite agent, you have to pay $6,000 in transaction fees. So if they would have just increased the price of the transaction fee, be way too easy for you to hit an elite agent, right? Right now, you have to hit 21 transactions after you cap. If they added this $30 to that, that may go down to like 18 or 19 transactions. So it's kind of a big balancing act. But there is a $30 flat fee on every transaction in addition to your transaction fee. Now, your transaction fee you don't pay until after you cap. The capping, depending on your price range, is usually 5 or 6 transactions. You're paying 15% to Real, and then after that you pay the transaction fee. But this $30 fee is across the board on all of them. And of course, after you hit elite agent, then that transaction fee goes down in price as well. So yeah, I know it is a little confusing. There's a lot of moving parts to that. But yeah, just know this BEOP fee is a newer one. It's $30 across the board on every transaction. On page 6, it says compensation upon termination. This is a really important one. Upon termination of this agreement, so long as agent is not in default of any provisions of this agreement, agent may be entitled to payment for transactions that occurred prior to the date of termination for which agent has not yet been paid. So I have a lot of agents that say, hey, we want to join Real, but we have 3 under contract with our current broker. What happens to those transactions? And that's entirely up to your broker. So I was with Keller Williams, and Keller Williams let me transfer over, and then I still closed those transactions under KW and still got paid for them. So that's the optimal situation, and that is what Real is allowing agents to do as well. If you ever want to leave Real, you have a few under contract, no problem. They'll close those out, still pay you those commissions, even if you left the brokerage. There are some brokers out there, especially like boutique and smaller brokerages, that are really snobby about that, and they may say, no, that transaction stays with the broker. You're representing the broker. Or they may say, hey, you only get 50% or 70% of that commission. There's some real snobs out there. Real's not being a snob. This is exactly what you want to see in an ICA. This shows that they're really caring about the agent more so than about the brokerage. Right beneath that, it says active transactions. The company may release active listings to another broker with the written approval of the state broker. So again, if you have an active listing, it's not under contract, they're like, okay, not a problem. We'll let you take that listing with you to your new brokerage. That's exactly what you want to see in any brokerage that you work for. Beneath that, pending transactions, agent cap ceases to exist once this agreement is terminated. Companies shall retain a minimum of 50% commission checks for transactions that close after the termination of this agreement. So you can close the transaction, but they are still taking their 15% commission, whether you've capped or not. So moving along on page 7, company's Eno Insurance covers all eligible transactions made by the company. Agent is responsible for the deductible on any transaction brokered through the company that results in a lawsuit or claim. So with that $30, you are paying for Eno Insurance, but just kind of keep that in mind that it's not necessarily completely free, right? With any kind of insurance, you do have a deductible, and so you as the agent are going to be responsible for that deductible if there is one, if there is ever a claim against you. And again, that is pretty standard. That is really what you see in all brokerages, but just something to kind of be aware of. Page 8, sponsoring agent. Agent acknowledges and confirms that the sponsoring agent has not offered, enticed, promised anything of value, including but not limited to lead generation platforms, CRM, coaching, trips, rebates, or currency in return for being named a sponsoring agent. So this is a really big one, and this is really what makes Real different, is this sentence right here. There are other companies, EXP is the obvious one, where their entire business model is based off of what upline you're joining, and you base that on what that upline is going to give you. You know, right now they give you coaching, or they give you free exclusive training that you can't get anywhere else, or masterminds, or access to podcasts. You know, they give you things like this in order to join a specific upline. And Real wanted to get away from that altogether. And so we are not allowing you to promise exclusive training to people in your downline. Instead, when you give that training, you have to give it to everybody in the company. And you may say, like, well, nobody's going to do that. Well, no, it's not true. Everybody's doing that. I even do it. I host a bi-weekly mastermind at Real, all about YouTube, and I'm not doing it just for people in my downline. I'm doing it for everybody in the company. Anybody can join my YouTube mastermind at Real. I do it every other week. So a lot of agents doing some really high-level masterminding every single week. A lot of agents have some really great training in the Real Academy. I've got training all about YouTube in the Real Academy. It's open to everybody in the company, not just people in my downline, right? A rising ship lifts all tides. No, that's not it. A rising tide lifts all ships, right? So if you help the company grow, we all kind of do better. Now, I believe that EXP is starting to kind of crack down on this. There were times, back in the day where people would straight up give you cash in order to put you as their sponsor, or say, I'll give you a free vacation if you put my name down as a sponsor. I'll give you this software and this technology, put my name down as a sponsor. And Real just wants to get away from that culture altogether. They want to have one huge community of agents sharing and collaborating and masterminding versus having all these smaller networks and smaller communities of a few hundred agents. And this sentence right here is what's really going to allow us to do that. And then the sentence right below that is the co-sponsoring agent. And it says agent is not required to name two sponsors into the company. So again, this is something that makes us different, is that at Real, you can have two different sponsors into the company, and that revenue share gets split between both those agents. And again, they did this to have an impact on the culture, and they really don't want a big emphasis on what downline you're in. And by having two different agents, it kind of solves two different sponsors, kind of solves that problem and kind of avoids that pitfall of people focusing on what downline they join. So at Real, you can have up to two different sponsors, although it is definitely not required. And the vast majority of agents really still only have one sponsor. But I have used co-sponsorship a few times. I've used it with 3 different agents so far. How I personally use it is when I find an agent that is brand new to the industry, I'll find somebody in their local market who wants to co-sponsor that agent with me, and that way they're getting kind of the local expert and kind of as a resource for them, and then I can be a resource for them as well. So below that, they go into a little more detail about prohibition against sponsoring offerings. Any offering, enticement, or promise of anything of value made by an existing agent of the company to a potential licensee with the intention of having the licensee name the agent as the referral agent or sponsoring is strictly prohibited. So they're really trying to drive this concept home, that they want you to put down who influenced you to join the company, not who promised you the biggest thing and the best training if you put their name down as a sponsor. And again, this caveat right here, this little rule, this focus is going to make it easier for the majority of agents to have somebody join their downline and put them down as a sponsor. The alternative to this that we don't want is that these mega agents that have tons of training, everybody puts them down as a sponsor rather than the person that really actually influenced somebody to join the company. So again, I think this is going to help spread the wealth around, allow more agents to receive more revenue share, and the average agent that's focused on their business, it's going to be easier for them to attract agents to the company and have them put them down as their sponsor. Page 9, change of brokerages. An agent who separates from the company for any reason and wishes to again affiliate with the company within a period of 365 days will return the same sponsor as when the agent separated from the company. So if you leave the company, come back within a year, you still have to come back under that same sponsor. And I have seen this issue a couple of times. I believe at EXP, they used to be a year. They've changed that now to be only 6 months. So it's a little bit easier to change your sponsor at EXP. But at Real, if you wanted to change your sponsor, you'd have to leave the company, sit out for an entire year, and then come back. So look, if you're interested in joining Real or you just want to learn more about the company, be more than happy to hop on a one-on-one video call with you, talk to you a little bit more about some of the benefits of being an agent here. I have a link down in the description to my calendar. Just pick a date and a time that works for you. Then you and I can hop on a one-on-one video call, see if Real Broker would be a good fit for you or not. And if you haven't seen my interview with Sharon, the president of Real Broker yet, you can check that out right here. Really great interview. He really talks about what his vision is for this company. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you over on the next video.